Hello, and welcome back to the King's Law podcast. I believe this is episode 6. And this episode is about God versus drugs, right? You as a God-fearing person. This is an important topic in America. It's a hot topic today because most people in America are on some type of drug, right? Whether it be a pharmaceutical drug or a drug that was manufactured by someone who is not part of a pharmacy, right? A drug dealer. And where does that fall, right? Does the law mention drugs? Yes or no? A lot of people are curious to know, and a lot of people don't know. And I didn't know until about a year ago, a little over a year ago. I had no idea. But I'm here just to give you what the law is and, you know, what it's talking to, what it pertains to. Anything that I mention here, any of the laws that I referenced, they are on the kingslaw.com. And they're in the Bible, right? Or the Torah. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. You can find them and go search through them at www.thekingslaw.com. And while you're there, you know, please get the book, share it with those around you. But yeah, let's talk about these drugs. First off, we want to know what a drug is, right? Because a lot of people, when we talk about drugs, they don't trust the government, right? They'll say, oh, this just grew from the ground, so it's not a drug. Or, you know, a lot of people don't consider legal drugs, drugs that come from the pharmacy, like Percocets, Xanax, bunch of stuff, right? But by definition, you know, you might not see drugs referenced in the not by definition, but by name, you might not see the word drug in the law. But what you do see is magic, and that's where we have to start, right? When we talk about magic and we talk about witchcraft, which are mentioned in the Bible, in the Torah, in the law, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, I'm going to run through those real quick. All right. What I have here is a list. I just filtered. I went to the website and I filtered by the topic drugs. And the first thing that comes up is law. What is law 63 right now? It's Exodus 22 verse 18. It says, if a woman is found out to be a witch, which is interpreted to be a female drug dealer or manufacturer, kill her. The next law says, do not use enchantments or magic. And right now we're talking about magic, which is the equivalent of drugs, right? And that is right now law 253, Leviticus 19 verse 26. And then there is another law that says, when you come into the land the Lord gives you, be perfect in God and do not do what the nations that are being moved out do. None of your people should burn their children in sacrifice, look into the future or past, that'd be fortune telling, be an enchanter. Not sure what enchanter is at this point. I'm not going to speculate whether that's like, you know, singing songs that enchant people. I'm not going to speculate because I don't know. Be a witch, which translates in modern day to being a female drug user, dealer, or manufacturer. Be a charmer. Consult with spirits. Be a wizard, which in modern day translates to being a male drug dealer, user, or manufacturer. Or to be a necromancer, which I don't know the definition of that off the top of my head. It says, these things are all abominations and reasons why the nations are being driven out, right? And as a lot of you know, America is in unstable times right now, just based on the things that are going on around the world. I'm not going to say it's the end of America, but we are in some shaky times right now, right? And you could say that might be a result of the climate that we live in America, where drugs are very, 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 very popular. Right? Nobody's perfect. We all have different problems in the nations around the world. But I would say one of the big problems in America is that drugs are being pushed and becoming legal, and everybody is using them, dealing them, or singing songs about them. And that last law that I mentioned right now, because the law, it is being edited at this point in time. There's some mistakes like in the lineup of them, and like some of the spellings and things like that. So the numbers may change of the law, like the given number. So you can go reference it by number. May change, but right now it's 494, and that's Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 9 through 14. The one talking about when you come into your land, right? And with that being said, some of these things, like when we talk about witchcraft or a wizard, may seem irrelevant to you because it may seem like it's talking about a magic fairy tale world that does not exist when we use those words, because those are old words that we do not use in our modern day language and have become kind of jokes, right? When you think about a witch, you think of like you think of like a Disney movie or something like that, or you think of like a horror movie, right, where they have witches and things like that. They may cast spells with a wand, or she's cooking in a cauldron and she comes up with a potion that make you fall in love, right? And in modern day, those things still exist. They're not as they don't exist in the way that they do in those movies, where it's more like casting magic on people with a wand and things like that. But if we look at the definition of modern day words, right, we can find what modern day things are magic, right? And if we look at the definition of pharmacy, which is comes from a Greek word. The definition of pharmacy is, what do you say? Like mixing drugs together, right? And pharmaco, which is a earlier word of pharmacy, means magic, charm, right? It means magic or charm. These are all synonyms for the word pharmaco, which is a word for modern day pharmacy, an old word for modern day pharmacy. The synonyms for synonym means words that mean the same thing, right? For pharmaco are magic, charm, cure, potion, medicine. Okay, so what do witches make? Witches take dried things, right? And they put them in a cauldron and they mix them up and they give you a potion. Right? That is the practice of magic, aka witchcraft, wizardry, the female and male versions of those words, right? You look at the word witchcraft. Witchcraft is the practice of magic. That is the first definition of witchcraft. And when you look at the word drug is dried herbs that are mixed together, given to you to change your physiological state, right? How you feel, your state of being, your mind, right? And when you look at modern day versus movies and things like that talk about witchcraft, they're different because they talk about a lady with a long nose and a mole on her chin, which a lot of them do have them these days. They do have long noses and they might have a cute little freckle on their cheek, right? Cute little beauty mark. But they're different, right? Because they got these witches on brooms and whatever else, and but when you look at what is being done in these movies and kind of like old time movies in modern day, it's not much different, right? You have a person who takes dried herbs and whatever else and who mixes them up in a potion and gives it to you, right? Like pills and potion, you know, like your perkies that you get from your doctor, like your volume that you get to help you handle those kids, you know. You get it from your pharmacy, aka pharmaco, aka your magician, your witch, your wizard. You get them, you get your potion, and you take that, and you can take your potion to make you fall in love, right? Right. A lot of people say, hey, I don't want to have sex, or I can't have sex with somebody I don't know like that unless I smoke some weed, unless I get some coke, then I could do this, right? That's a potion to help you feel open, make you feel sexual enough, open enough to a person whom you don't know, so you can give them your body, right? Or you might say, dang, I can't fall asleep without my pills. Can't fall asleep without my promethazine. That's your potion, so you can feel sleepy and go to sleep. Or some people might say, man, I can't, I don't have, I don't feel up to the task unless I get some meth or some coke, or what. You get your potion, so you can feel like Superman and you can do something that you feel like you're supposed to do, right? These are all potions given to you to change your physiological state so you can do things that you wouldn't normally do. Magic. What do you know? And I just read to you the punishments for magic. So let's talk about the modern day punishments that we see taking place right now, right? I mean, when you talk about losing land and things like that, most of us, the young generation, who is a very drug heavy generation, right? We have problems retaining land, obtaining land, being adulting. And the parents will tell you it's because he's on drugs, smoke too much weed, he smoked too this, and you may have given that some thought, and you may say, man, that is valid in some ways. But when you are engulfed in a culture, sometimes it's hard to, see your way out of that, right? When you say, well, just because I smoke weed doesn't mean I'm going to be broke for the rest of my life. Look at the TV, I can see Snoop, and he smokes all day and I'm fine, he's fine. Or just because I drink, lean, doesn't mean I'm gonna die and live in poverty for all my life. Look at, all these rap artists and singing and singers, right? But one thing you have to caution yourself with is you don't know these people. It could just be a commercial for drug. Like, he could just be being paid to put that in the music, so you buy it and keep using it. And behind closed doors, he might not have ever taken that drug in his entire life. Or he could have just microdosed and mixed it in a bunch of water so he could, turn up at the concert and sell a bunch of it to you because he's getting paid off of it. And a lot of that's in here too. So I'm gonna talk to. I read one law about female drug dealers, right? It says, and these are the consequences for these things, right? This is not my opinion. This is in the law. It says if a woman is found out to be a witch, which in modern day translate to a female drug user or manufacturer, it says kill her. That might seem extreme, but who are we? You know what I'm saying? We live. If you believe in God, we living in God's universe, so we all gotta be humble at the end of the day, right? If you believe in God, you're living in God's universe that He created, right? If you live by His law, and you think He might know what He's talking about in the universe that He created, He is telling you If a woman is found out to be a witch, which in modern day translates to female drug dealer or manufacturer or female drug user, it says kill her. Now that does translate into a lot of you guys' lives, because a lot of you guys out here who are on drugs, you think you on drugs or keep drugs because you think you need drugs to get girls. I don't know how many people I've met out here who think they gotta get girls how they have sex, and I don't know how many girls out here say, to guys, man, I can't really, I gotta smoke so I can relax. Perpetuate yourself. So the man is in control. At that point, he's giving up a lot because you already living foul, right, outside of law, and you think you need to give a girl drugs so you could use their body. And these are the things that come out of being around a witch or a wizard, right? And I'm gonna look for another law that I'm gonna look for another law because this really speaks to what happens in modern day. And like I said plenty of times, I don't want to talk about any of my opinions. I only want to talk about the facts of the matter. And the fact of the matter is, I live in the United States of America, and pop culture is very influential in the United States of America. Very influential. No matter what color you are, what religion you are, what race you are, we all listen to some shape or form of music. And a lot of our music these days is used to push drugs. When you look at the Beatles, they talking about pushing drugs, talking about Yellow Submarine. It's a song about drugs. When you talk about Billy Joel, I think Billy Joel made the song Captain Jack, Get You High Tonight. Talking about drugs. I believe he wrote The Magic Dragon too. I want to say he did. It might have been somebody else. Don't. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna say I'm a old like pop or rock connoisseur, right? He's talking about drugs though. Whoever wrote the song. And when you look at modern day culture, right, things kind of started out innocent. Even if you look at modern day pop culture, where you have a lot of these singers, things like that, or a lot of rappers. They in the early 90s, they didn't necessarily start off talking about drugs right away. Early 90s, late 80s, early 80s, right? They didn't necessarily start talking about drugs right away. But it has made its way to the forefront of those cultures, and your kids are taking drugs based on those songs. I can't tell you a song that I've heard that is so popular that everybody really listens to that does not talk about drugs these days. And that really is in the law, because those people who are pushing the drugs, right, you can't disassociate them from you using drugs. You are listening to somebody talking about using drugs all over and over again, right? And for those, I haven't gone to a concert, right, but I have known in Philadelphia, there's a lot of rappers. I've known a lot of wannabe rappers in my life. I've known a lot of actual real rappers in my lifetime. I've known some people who, because now I live in Miami, right? I've met a lot of people who are in and around the music industry. Some of them my neighbors. It's not my business to put people in my podcast, you know what I mean? But these are very famous people. And when I say neighbors, I don't mean we live in the same city. I mean we live in the same building, like across the hallway from each other, or might live up like one flight up from me, right? And one of them was selling drugs legally, and the other one, anytime I seen him, he was on drugs, right? And when you go to these concerts, because I don't go to concerts like that, right? But the drugs are available at the concerts. And when you look at the way what these people call themselves, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have to look at this for what it is. When you look at modern day like rappers and things like that, people who are influencing pop culture. Because a lot of people think rap is just a black thing, but no, everybody listens to these rappers and these modern day singers and pop people. Everybody listens to them. You know what I mean? And that goes for all brown people in America, whether they Mexican, brown American, light white skinned. All these people in America, they all listen to this stuff because you can't get away from it. It's on. If you're watching football, it's on the commercial break. You go to the basketball or football game, they playing it in the stadium, right? Everywhere you go, and your kid is asking you to go to a concert. But when you look at these people's names, Wiz Khalifa, he's saying he's a wizard. You look at people like Kid Cudi, he calls himself King Wizard. You look at these modern day super popular pop artists, they say that they're witches. You can go look it up. They say, oh yeah, there's certain things that you can say to people. They're talking about enchantments and what they saying it out loud. It's not even like they like trying to like make a riddle. Because to really, like, when we look at witchcraft and things like that, you got to think it's been placed into, and these things are going to be, the things I'm talking about are deep rooted in American life. It might seem a little extreme, but if you play this back and you listen closely, I'm not talking about anything that isn't a fact. Like, I just gave you definitions of these words, and I just read these laws to you straight out. When you look at magic in America, it is rooted in our childhood. Think about it. Disney. Do you believe in magic? They making magic a game from a young age, so that when you get older and these witches and wizards start calling you to either participate in magic or come buy it directly from them, you'll do it because it's a joke to you, because you've been raised as a child to think magic is a joke and something you should go seek. And this is something I'm going to read to you. This is a law. It is law right now. It's law 263. It's Leviticus 19 verse 31, right? It says, do not seek a wizard, which in modern day translates to a male drug dealer / user. You will be defiled by them. Defiled means made unclean. To be unclean means that you cannot be in the presence of God, right? If you're unclean, you can't go into the tabernacle where God dwells. Not saying that you have one or there is one built today, but that's what to be unclean means, right? What do we teach our children in America? One, even if you haven't been to Disney World, you watch Disney movies. It's a mouse with a wand. It's one of his most famous, one of the most well-known, kind of symbols of Disney, right? Do you believe in magic? This is what is being pushed to the kids right now. And this is not like, I don't want to make myself a conspiracy theorist. I'm not going to be over here talking about a bunch of stuff I haven't seen, the Illuminati and all this. You all have all seen this. Yeah, it's been in my house. You know what I mean? Like, I used to go to Disney World every year as a kid. But that's what parents had. That was popularized at the time to take your kids to go see. But at the end of the day, one of the most unclean animals for you to touch per law is a mouse. And then they give you a magic mouse, who, when you look at, those old movies like Fantasia that a lot of kids have seen and were raised on, right? He was the apprentice of a wizard. I forget. I don't know what it's called, but there was a wizard in the movie Fantasia, right? And there's a lot of great music and ballads in there, right? No words. It was just like, it was orchestra, right? Keep you mesmerized on the screen. But in that scene where Mickey Mouse is with the The wizard falls asleep and he takes his hat, and Mickey Mouse starts practicing the magic. It's your kid's favorite character. That's who he's dying to go see in the summertime in the park so he can get his autograph. He's being taught as a child to go seek a wizard. Period. You can't skin that cat any other way. I might be crazy, but that's what that is. Mickey Mouse went to go seek and be an apprentice of the wizard. Your child, who you gave that VHS tape to, saw Mickey Mouse, and Mickey Mouse is one of his favorite characters. And he wants to do like Mickey Mouse is doing, so he tells his mom and dad he wants to go to Disney World, the land of magic. Do you believe in magic? And he wants to go see the enchanted forest. And he wants to go see it's all magic. But it's all very innocent though at that time. You see what I'm saying? It's all very innocent. You got Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. She bites the magic apple, falls asleep, whatever. Happy ending after. You got Ariel, the mermaid, right? She goes seeks the witch, the octopus lady, right? And go get her legs so she can leave her dad and go see some dude. You know what I mean? Like you got all these people. You got even the new ones. Moana, she meets the demigod, right? And I have kids. They was singing that joint. They love that joint. But at the end of the day, it was the girl. She leaves her dad. She goes seeks the demigod, and that's who saves her. Call me crazy, but that's that's a little crazy. And I'm not saying like what I am saying is look at the facts. Like that is teaching your child to go seek a wizard, go seek magic, go be defiled. And when you look at modern day events, you look at the way not modern day events, but you look at modern day culture, and you look at the way a lot of young girls act, they go to seek to be defiled. They want the boy who is on drugs. They want the boy who has drugs. A lot of them. I'm not saying all of them. There are a lot of nice young women out there. But when you look at these younger girls, the boy who they leave their parents for and start disobeying their parents for is a boy who has these things. And I don't think that's by coincidence. They were taught at a young age to go seek magic. And I don't think it's a coincidence that they find the wizard. And the result of them finding that wizard and letting that wizard give them a potion, they become loose and they give the wizard their body and they become defiled. I don't think that's a coincidence. It's like you getting a Happy Meal when you're young, and then you go back to McDonald's to get the Big Mac. Because all the people in McDonald's, when you go into McDonald's, remember you wanted that Happy Meal, right? You wanted that toy that was on the commercial. Then when you go into McDonald's, right, because you had to physically go there back in the day. This is before Uber Eats, right? When you go into McDonald's, you see the little robber guy. You see, you used to see that clown. I forget his name. You used to see Ronald McDonald. And then you used to see all the little other characters, right? And they was, if the McDonald's had a park and things like that, you would see statues of them sitting on benches around the park or inside of the store, right? Inside of the restaurant. And what did they all have? They all had a Big Mac. There was pictures of them with Big Macs. Now the Big Mac, you couldn't really eat that at the time, so you got your little kids Happy Meal so you can get the toy. But at the end of the day, when you got older, you walk past a McDonald's, what you want? You want to go back and get that Big Mac. It's the same thing, man. And people have to stop making things coincidence and do not seek the wizard or be around him. Because this goes very, very deep. right? And I don't want to say deep like, oh, like in a emotional sense. I mean deep in your life, way back, right? Because you were taught to accept magic and go seek magic as a child. That is irrefutable. Disney movies were the most popular movies for kids, at least, and it's all about magic. And it's all about seeking the musician. I mean, in every movie, even the movies for all the boys, same thing. Lion King. And so you say, where was the wizard in that? And he went, Rafiki. Rafiki spoke to the spirits. It says right there, it's Law 494 that I just mentioned to you earlier today. I think it's, well, I'm not thinking, I'm looking at the screen right now. It says, the bullet point F on there says consult with spirits, right? The line in that movie, he ran away from home because his dad died. He had some hard times. He got with a couple cats who was just eating bugs all day. They was chilling. They was like, man, forget the world. And then when he wanted to get his life together, he saw Rafiki, the guy who could speak to spirits, and he got to talk to his dad from the afterlife. And that is what made him get his life together. That's teaching your child something. I said, how can you get your life together? I got to go seek an old wise one to help me talk to my ancestors. That's the same thing in Mulan. Movie from the Far East, but very popular out here in the West when he was a kid. All right, Mulan was going up to the little thing. She had Mushu the dragon, that statue. You know what I'm saying? And he was in there guarding all of her relatives who were in that, I don't know what that was, a shrine. And she went to go consult the spirits. What's that and to you as an adult, it might seem funny. Oh yeah, this is great. Oh yes, my child is elated. But your child is a child. They are empty at that point and soaking everything up like a sponge. So at that point in time, they are relating all of these positive experiences, these jovial experiences, to magic and ghosts and demigods and everything that's you not supposed to seek. That is, they're getting there when they go see these. They're relating all of those things to positive experiences because it was introduced to them in a happy way, like the Happy Meal and going to see everyone enjoying a Big Mac. So when you look at your son and he went wild and he's smoking weed all day now, when you look at your daughter and you know she went and found her bad boy and got defiled, and you know whether she might be depressed and lonely without kids right now, or she might have kids by some dude who you don't approve of, right? And you think, man, when I was young, I did everything for her. She was a good girl. Did you put these things in her life? And did you let her be a super fan? Did you get her all the stuff? Did you take her to Disney World? Did you let her? I mean, look, because it go, like I told you, it's very entrenched in your daily life. You look at Harry Potter. How many adults do we see now that when they were children, you see them at these parks and they dressed up in these capes with wands and they taking their kid. They are so and that just proves how powerful that training is as a child, because these people are 40 years old running around the most ridiculous outfits you ever seen, losing their minds when they see that Harry Potter world in Universal Studios. So if you sit here and say, well, what he's saying is a little bit of a reach, if it's a reach and that association in your childhood is not so powerful, then why do these adults who are in their 40s and in their late 30s go to Universal Studios, and when they walk through the little wall and they see the dragon and all that, oh my gosh, the greatest thing I ever seen in my life. They go pay $100 for a cape and wear that joint. No joke. They get so emotional that, oh my gosh, cause that's their childhood. They love it. and they are making decisions as an adult based off of it. They'll go to Florida, buy a plane ticket, take some time off of work, buy a ticket to a park, and wait to go see it, and lose their minds when they see it, and go spend more money when they in there. That's how powerful that positive association during childhood is. But that's not the only, like I said, it's in Disney. Now, when you look at Disney, you know, Disney is not the only problem, right? We talk about pop in the music industry, but pop in the music industry is just a continuation of those things in the past from their childhood that were positively associated in their life, right? Because when you look at a lot of the pop stars, and like a lot of this is not like none of it. When you just run this back, if you think I'm reaching, none of this is my opinion. This is what happened right in front of you. A lot of these pop stars that were associated with their childhood through Disney or through Nickelodeon, right, through positive enforcement. These children were nice and innocent when they were kids. A lot of them went left when they got older. You know, look at the Miley Cyrus. Miley Cyrus was every girl's god back in I remember I had a little cousin who was like, you know 10 to 12 during that time when Miley Cyrus was popular on Disney. I was too old for that at the time, but like I remember I had a cousin who like worshipped her. She wanted to, beg their parents to go to the concert. She went to the concerts. She dressed like that girl. She wanted to be just like that girl, and this was a good little girl. I'm telling you, she was very astute, very geeky. She was a cute little girl, but she was not, interested in showing her body in any way. She was very studious, right? And when Miley Cyrus went, she went left and started with the ratchet. You know what I'm saying? When Miley Cyrus was twerking somewhere in America, she lost her mind. She was out trying to see any dude she could see. She was twerking on any car she could twerk on. She was in videos doing all types of stuff. You know what I'm saying? She moved down to Atlanta, started, I don't know what she was doing. She was in some mess. I remember, I'll tell you, one day I was out, I'll tell you, this is an innocent little girl, man. She was raised in a suburb, like, never around none of that in her life. I was in Philadelphia downtown during the I think this was like 4th of July. It's like Philadelphia is lit during 4th of July. Like it's like a million people outside, right? But it's like for you to be a dude, like you ain't gonna be there if you're not from there. You know what I mean? It's a very uncomfortable environment if you're not from there for you to be there, right? So we outside. Boom. I'm with one of my male cousins and a friend at the time, and like I think my girlfriend at the time, and some other people, right? And we go see this girl. The girl's from Delaware. She was born and raised there, right? I see her out there, and I'm with my cousin, but he's my cousin on my mother's side. She is my cousin on my father's side, right? I see her. She got on these Daisy Dukes, butt cheeks hanging out. You know what I'm saying? Like she wasn't raised in this environment either, right? She got Daisy Dukes, butt cheeks hanging out. She was some other little girl, little skimpy top on. Walking through a crowd of, you know what I mean? This is Philadelphia. This is like 2012 or 13 or something. It's Philadelphia though, like, and if you don't know what I mean by that, like, go visit one day. Like, it's not the best of places. You know what I mean? And the crowd is not the nicest crowd, right? Some aggressive people, right? She's walking through in this outfit, and I couldn't believe my eyes. I grabbed her. Like, just gripped her up off the street. I was like, yo, what are you doing over here? I passed her to my cousin. Like, yo, hold her hand for the rest of the night. They was like, yo, who is this girl? Because he had never seen her before. It's my cousin on the other side of the family, right? She's a pretty girl. And I was like, it's my cousin. Don't look at her. I was traumatized. I was like, don't look at her. Hold her hand for the rest of the night. She's like, you can't make me do this, da 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 da. And I had to stand there. And I was just like, yo, if I had a jacket, I would have threw it on her at the time, right? I'm telling you, this girl was innocent, sweet. She was very studious, and right when Miley Cyrus flipped and started twerking everywhere in America, she was there. She was doing the same thing. Now this girl, you know what I mean? Like, she is that now. Like, she chose that ratchet route, and you cannot convince me that was not based on Miley Cyrus. Miley Cyrus was her god, man. Miley Cyrus went left, she went left right with her. Same for a bunch of girls. And you can repeat that with a lot of these girls out here. You know, the Ariana Grandes, the Britney Spears. You gotta think all these people started at these kid programs, these Disneys, these Justin Timberlakes, you know what I mean? These Christina Aguileras, these Shia LaBeoufs, these the chick from Anne Hathaway. Right? They all started at Disney. Your daughter is that's the Happy Meal. They were all positively associated with your child's childhood. So then when your child sees them and your child feels positive emotions when they see this person, because they feel like they know them. They laugh with them as a child, right? And they see as an adult, well, Miley's having fun twerking on stage with the rappers. That'll be fun for me. Miley's with the drug dealers. Miley's with the scammers. Maybe that'd be good for me. And that right there is teaching your child to seek a wizard and to be defiled. Period. Now, who is doing this? I don't know. I don't have the answers, people. I don't know who came up with that, or if it just happened. Maybe it's God putting somebody in front of you to let you to ruin you, because you know. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, this is God's universe, right? Nothing happens without his energy, right? So at the end of the day, when people talk about negative forces and the devil is this, and you know, black people are the devil, white people are the devil, such. It's all God, because nothing can happen without God. You can't breathe, you can't live a second without God, right? Can't happen. You know what I'm saying? If you were living in law and attuned to God's universe, you would stay away from that, right? But because you are not, you are susceptible to that. And your child is susceptible to that, because you can't explain to them why you shouldn't do that. You can't explain to yourself why you shouldn't let your children go to the land of magic, and why you shouldn't let your child watch all those movies about how magic is going to save them. You don't know why, because you never studied the law, period. And I've said in previous podcasts, right, when you choose to live outside the law, no matter how minute the veer off may have been, once you accept that you can do something outside of the law and it's fine because everybody else is doing it, and I'm going to pause right there. Because I'm gonna find something else for you that so you can't fight, right? Because the crowd is doing that. There's a law for that right now. It's law 76. It's Exodus 23 verse 2, right? It says, do not follow a crowd in doing wrong. In law 77, Exodus 23 verse 2, this is both the same verse, right? It says, do not side with many wrongdoing people to stop a fair judgment, right? So this person gets put in front of you, and it has to be by God, right? Because when you say these people did it, right? When you say drugs historically, you can go look up things that talk about Great Britain, right? Going to Asia before they ever came here and getting Asians hooked on opioids, right? And you can say Great Britain came here, got hooked on opioids, but you can't blame Great Britain for nothing, because if you was a God-fearing person and you was following the law, they would have never been able to hook you on opioids, and you would have identified that person as a wizard and somebody who you shouldn't associate it with. So the fact that you got caught up in that is your fault. Because not everybody from that part of the world is doing that, right? There are people who just came to sell silk. There are people who just came to buy rice. There are people who just came to buy corn, right? But you let the wizard in your house who came to sell you some opioids, came to sell you a potion, right? Because you fell away from law. So at the end of the day, your life is in your hands. You can't blame a group of people, right? You can't blame your government saying no, your government is under your control. It's for the people, by the people. You can go run for office right now and get rid of all that, but you won't, because you side with many wrongdoing people. A lot of you start doing drugs out here because it's everywhere on the TV, and you know deep down it's wrong, but you do it because everybody else is doing it. And it takes a different type of person with a different set of beliefs to go stand against that, right? So at the end of the day, you falling susceptible to that and losing all your money, or ending up in rehab or whatever, or ending up pregnant by some guy who got you high, right, is all your fault. Because you need to know the law and you need to study it. And you would know that I cannot side with a bunch of wrongdoing people to stop fair judgment. And you would know that I cannot follow a crowd in wrongdoing. And you would know what witchcraft is and who is a wizard and who is a witch. And that you need to stay away from those people so you do not become defiled. You would know that. But since we do not follow law, right, we follow religions. When I say we, I'm talking about the masses. I'm not talking about myself. But since we follow religion instead of law, religion don't teach you what a witch is. They teach you a witch is a girl who take a chicken foot and put it under your bed. They don't talk about pharmacies. Shoot, I'll tell you my own experience. I went to a pastor for marriage counseling one time. We were there for 5 minutes. I'm not gonna say 5 minutes. That's what it is. We were there for 20 minutes. He stopped the meeting, and he said, "We can't continue until your wife takes these drugs." He prescribed lithium. The pastor is a wizard. He pushing pills. How is the man who's supposed to be your leader in God a wizard at the same time? I'm not saying all pastors out here, being psychiatrists or whatever and prescribing pills and things like that, right? But this dude spoke to us for 20 minutes. And he was like, I'll tell you what he said verbatim. This man said, "We can't go any further. There's a block there." He was like, "She is not having the same conversation we're having, and you probably talked to her till you're blue in the face, and I can see her and talk to you here, we're blue in the face, and I understand." He was like, he's making it real smooth. He's like, "I understand, I'm a pastor." And he was like, we can sit here with this book all day, but he was like, imagine if, where you're a faucet pouring water and the drain is closed. He was like, you got to open the drain up so that it can, so the water can go down or whatever, right? Or else you're just going to flood the sink and it's all going to spill over and you're pouring water for no reason, right? So he was like, we could sit here with this book and read as many passages out this book as we want. But he was like, he said that ain't going to do. And I'm not saying you can just read something and it's going to do something. You have to actually act, right? Like on this. Because people say you have to be on drugs to feel better. No, you don't feel right because you're out of tune with the universe. That's what you have to accept. You don't feel good because you are out of tune with universal law. I accept that. I don't feel good all the time. But I don't think I don't feel good because I didn't take a drug. I know I don't feel good because I'm doing something wrong. So I go and seek what I did wrong. Because I know my life and my state of being is under my control in this universe. But for you to gain control of that, you got to know the universal law, right? So someone not knowing universal law will say, yeah, I'm going to take the pills. You probably know deep down your instincts are telling you those pills are wrong and probably going to ruin your life, but you take them anyway because the crowd is doing that and you don't see a reason not to follow the crowd. There's a pastor who was the leader of a congregation in front of you prescribing it to you. So how could this be wrong? I'll tell you how it could be wrong. It's the law that you cannot participate in that. But if you don't follow the law, you have no reason to say no reason to say no. And this is why this is very important. Very, very important. When you look at all these Happy Meals that are being given to your kids, that was given to you as a kid, that led you straight to a wizard, led you straight to a witch, led you straight to a fortune teller, led you straight to a seeker of spirits, led you straight to all that stuff. All those Happy Meals that were given to you as a child led you straight there. It's the only reason you didn't say no and your parents didn't say no, you have to admit, is because they weren't following the law. And look, it became an epidemic. Now, you could, as a human being who does not believe in God, or who believes in, some evil power out there trying to destroy you, right? You could say, you know what? There's this family over there from Europe who has the biggest pharmaceutical company in the world, and they're poisoning everybody, and all this is poison. You could say that, and you could blame them, or you could blame yourself, because you couldn't say no, and you made them trillionaires because you don't follow the law. And your entire land is being destroyed, and you're losing it because you don't follow the law. That's the problem, not them. They wouldn't exist if you was following the law. They couldn't exist in this universe, and they couldn't exist in your land, because everybody in your land would know, no, go away. I can't be around you, and you can't be here, because one of the laws is, I'm gonna relate it. Yeah, let me find it real quick. Give me a second. It says, I gotta find it. It's right in the beginning too. It says, this is Law 18. It's Law 18 right now. It's Exodus chapter 12, verse 49. It says, the strangers that live amongst your people and all the homeborn must follow the law. So let's say America as a whole decided to follow the law, right? That means any foreigner who comes to our land would have to follow the law too. So let's say some foreigner came on a boat or on a plane to your country, and your country followed the law. And then that said person got off a plane and started offering potions. Or he said, man, I got a whole bunch of movie scripts about how great magic is, right? If you taught the law to your sons, as it says in the law that you have to, it says teach the law to your sons and your children continuously. They should be talked about continuously. If you did that, if you actually followed the law, then all of your children would know that no, they can't participate in taking potions. They would all know that no, I can't participate in the promotion of magic. I can't even be around you, because that would make you a magician, a witchcraft, or a witch or a wizard. They would know that, and it would never make it past the gate. But since America doesn't follow the law, that person not only made it into the gate, they set up a business. Not only did they make a business, they got land and resources and grew plenty of drugs and sourced them, mixed them together. And not only did they source them, mix them together, they made them legal. And not only did they make them legal, they created pharmacies all through the land to sell them directly to everybody. And not only did they make these pharmacies to sell them to everybody, they got legal doctors, legal wizards everywhere to subscribe this to you. That's how far you let it get when you don't listen. Now, how hard is it going to be to reverse all that? How hard is it going to be? Some people say, man, it's impossible because they want to go with the crowd because going with the crowd is easy. But I say all this to say it never would have happened if you was following the law in the first place. Never would have happened. And your daughter wouldn't have died of that overdose. Your son wouldn't be in rehab. Your son wouldn't be in jail for drugging and raping some girl. Your daughter wouldn't have got drugged and raped. Your child wouldn't be twerking on OnlyFans. Your son wouldn't be trying to be a rapper. Like I said, it goes deep. Your son wouldn't be smoking a whole bunch of weed, right? Because that wouldn't be attracting the women for him. It goes deep. And we as a nation need to think about that when we talk about this drug culture, this pop culture. I hope this was valuable for you as a person. And I hope when you hear this and you hear these, you look it up and you realize this is true. When you hear these truths, I hope you pass this on to the next person because it's very important to the healing of America, not only America, of the world. And if you think drugs is taking over the world, you're wrong, because there are places where people don't do drugs at all. I can name a few of them are on this side of the planet. Cuba, they don't do drugs. Dominicans don't do drugs like that. Japan, they don't even, you can't even get drugs in Japan. They don't even know. There are plenty of places that don't have any drugs. There are places where it's hard for you to even smoke a cigarette. In America, it is everyone's world because they was all raised to go seek magic. They have a literal world dedicated to magic. It's called Disney World. And on the other coast, they got Disneyland. And then all in between, they go into their nearest store to buy the movie or subscribing to its what do you call it? Streaming service, Disney Plus. Go get some magic. Then on that same streaming service, they got a show about the devil's daughter on there or something crazy. And they pushing homosexuality in a lot of them shows. And I'm not talking about this from third party perspective. I'm talking about this from I have children, and I've seen some Nickelodeon shows and some Disney show where they have like real life characters. And I seen a gay boy in this show, like a boy, like a flamboyantly homosexual little child in these shows. I'm like, why is this on a child's show? And I literally had to turn it off. And they say, oh, why you turn it on? I'm like, did you see what was on there? They're like, they got this little boy on there, this flamboyantly. And they like, oh, you tripping? It's a kid's show. Like, no, my son is in here. My son ain't watching that. Why not? Why would he? So he can grow up and emulate that? That's his hero? No. Y'all need to start saying no too. Period. Me and child go ask you, hell no, we ain't going to Disney World. All that magic, all that, and if they ask why the magic is bad, tell them. And instead of taking them there, take them to Yellowstone Park or something like that. Go show them some buffaloes. Take them to the real places that's in Disney World. Like when they got the Walker. Yeah, take them to the real places. Go take them really to Paris. There's plenty of outside of that world. That world is an imitation of the real world. Just like those feelings you feel when you take those drugs, those are real feelings that you can have if you really want to have a rush, right? You can really go ride a motorcycle or go climb a mountain instead of taking the magic and feeling that. If you really want to feel like you in love, right, you could take a chance and actually love somebody and get married, right? Instead of taking a drug so you can do it the quick way and so you can give your body to somebody that you don't know and catch a STD. It's all food for thought, man. And I hope when you hear this, you pass this on to the next person, because I truly believe this is an important. It's not even. I don't believe it. It is an important topic in America, because drugs in America is running rampant, and people at this point in time are finding it hard to live life without imagining, are finding it hard to imagine life without drugs, which is very, very sad. We are a land full of magic, full of witchcraft, full of wizardry. It's all over the airwaves. It's all in the community. It's all in the schools. It's there. It's all in your hospitals. It's everywhere. And this is what this is here for. So, to one, give you the message, and two, help. This is what all this is here for. So, I thank you for joining me. That's all I have to say on this topic, and hopefully it'll be revisited in the future. But thank you. And like I said, I believe these episodes will be coming every Friday at 5 p.m. Friday Eastern Standard Time. All right, thank you. Bye bye.